Good evening. I'd like to call the City of North Augusta City Council meeting for June 16, 2025 to order. It's good to see everybody. Thank y'all for being here tonight. Fantastic. You are welcome to join me in prayer. Dear God, thank you for our blessings. We ask you to give us the guidance and discernment needed to make decisions for our community. Help us to listen to each other's perspective on all matters. Help us to respect the concerns from citizens as we strive to honor you in our role as elected officials. Amen. If you're able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we're going to go to roll call starting from my left.
John Felak. Robert Freitas.
Pat Carpenter.
Britton Williams.
Kevin Toole.
David Buck.
Dennis Briatico.
All right, item 4, approval of minutes. Are there any corrections, deletions, or additions to the regular city council meeting minutes of June the 2nd, 2025, or the study session minutes of June the 9th, 2025? Hearing none, they stand approved as distributed. Thank you. And I'm assuming, Mr. Rick Meyer, you're going to be our proclamation man. Meet me in front of the dais, please. All right. How are you, sir? Good to see you. All right, this is Parks and Recreation Month. Whereas parks and recreation programs are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including North Augusta, South Carolina. Whereas our parks and recreation are vitally important to establishing and maintaining the quality of life in our communities, ensuring the health of all citizens, and contributing to the economic and the environmental well-being of a community and region. And whereas parks and recreation programs build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provides therapeutic recreation services for those who are mentally or physically disabled, and also improve the mental and emotional health of all citizens. And whereas parks and recreation programs increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of business, and crime reduction. And whereas the City of North Augusta Parks and Recreation Department, and we have our Director Rick Meyer here, has laid the foundation of fundamentals and sportsmanship in our youth who joined 13 North Augusta High School varsity sports teams. Boys football, girls basketball, boys basketball, girls softball, boys baseball, girls soccer, girls volleyball, girls golf, girls tennis, boys tennis, wrestling to compete in the 2024-2025 Class 4A state playoff. The football team won the region championship and made to the lower state finals. The wrestling team won the region championship. The boys basketball team won the region championship and finished as a 4A state runner-up. The girls basketball team won the region and the 4A state championship, and boys golf team finished 4th in the 4A state golf tournaments. You know, we ask those teams every time. We ask them, how many of y'all started out in the rec program?
Most of them, yes.
Oh, that's right. Whereas the City of North Augusta recognizes the many benefits derived from parks and recreation resources, now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Augusta, South Carolina, that July 2025 is recognized as Park and Recreation Month in the City of North Augusta, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of North Augusta, South Carolina to be affixed the 16th day of June 2025. Rick, thank you for all your team do, my friend. Thank you. Let's give a round of applause. All right, we have got some fantastic young people here tonight, and they are starting. Our Chamber of Commerce is an incredible organization. They partner with us, and they really bring a lot of value to our community. And one of the things they started a number of years ago was a Junior Leadership Academy program. And we have been blessed, I want to say this is the second or third year, I guess since I've been mayor, maybe all 4 years, that they are able to come and it's a 4-week program, and they will actually be, all y'all will be coming back to have lunch with us next week, and I'll be talking to you, and some of our directors will as well. But they wanted to come and sit in on a city council meeting. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask each of you to stand up, and if you would just tell everybody what your name is. I know you don't mind talking because you wave and saying, hey to everybody when you walk down. Tell us your name, and if you would, why did you decide you want to be part of this program? What are you hoping to get out of over the next 4 weeks? Hold a microphone too.
Thank you. My name is Caden Bush, and what I like to get out of this program, or what I've achieved, or what I want to achieve, is to learn how to become a better man in the United States, and to be able to progress through high school and learn valuable things that I could use in college and in high school. So,
My name is Aiden Braswell, and I hope to get good leadership skills from this academy and to learn how to be a better member of society.
My name is Riley Bannister, and what I hope to get out of this leadership program is better public speaking skills.
My name is Jonah Thomas, and the reason I came was because I wanted to be a better public speaker, like she said, and honestly be a better leader.
My name is Bo McElhargy, and I came to this program to pick up some new skills for high school, and that would help me throughout life.
I'm Christopher. I joined this because I wanted to try something new and to get something out of this, to be a better leader, to, yeah.
My name is Joshua Hansbrough, and I joined this community to learn new things for high school and to become a better public speaker.
My name's AJ Harris, and I joined this to get better skills that I can use in the future, possibly finding a job, anything that life throws at.
My name is Justin Stevens, and I joined this group to carry on my leadership skills from here and bring them on to football.
Well, you're the leader.
Good evening. My name is Edie Stone, and I have been assigned this task for the past 7 or 8 years. And civic engagement is this day, and this is a good way for our young people to be able to see how our elected officials, our mayor, run the city, and I look forward to it every year. So thank you for the opportunity to come and sit in today.
Sure. Thank you for having us, city council members and Mr. Mayor. These kids, they actually give us so much hope for the future, and to know that they all live right here in North Augusta and the surrounding areas. It's incredible to see their growth through this program, and I just wanted to say thank you again for having us here tonight.
That's right, rising night. See, I can tell you, when I was it was junior high school, when I was going, okay, that's how far back it was. I can assure you, I did not, in junior high, was I thinking about how I could be a leader in high school. So I'm very impressed by you guys. We have a gentleman right here. Are you in the program? Well, come on. Come. That's okay. Stand up. You survived it.
My name is Hudson Stark, and I graduated Junior Leadership Academy last year, and I'm an alumni.
It was worth it.
Yes, it was.
All right, there you go. I didn't prep him for that. That's right. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank y'all.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brittany Key. I graduated the program in 2023, and this year I'm an alumni and a mentor. I hope to be able to help all the students learn from this program. Thank you so much.
All right. All right, great to see y'all. Thank y'all for being here. That's fantastic. All right, we're going to move into old business, which is we have one item, 6, administration. Ordinance number 2025-11, amending section 12-21-9 related to hours for construction work. Do I have a motion to approve this ordinance on second reading?
So moved.
All right, Mr. Buck, Ms. Carpenter, thank you. Anything you'd like to share about this, Mr. Clifford?
No amendments to this, Mr. Mayor and Council. This is the second reading of the construction work hours noise ordinance. And so ultimately what this allows our citizens to do is to have work on Saturday between the hours 9 to 5. There was some council back and forth about the hours on Saturday, but the quorum guidance from the dais was 9 to 5 was a good start point for Saturdays, and so that's where we are, and that's the document they have before you as part of the ordinance.
Okay. Are there any citizen comments? Okay. Any council discussion? Okay, here now, I'm going to ask for a vote. All in favor? And that's unanimous. Thank you very much. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, thank you. I'm counting you to say that for me. Yeah. No, tell them about, okay, you want to tell them? Explain it.
Okay, just for you young people that don't normally come to council, we have a study session on the second and fourth Monday nights. On first and third Monday nights, we have the regular council meeting, which is right now. But these things, we don't want you to think he asked us and we vote immediately. No, we have discussed all this the previous week, plus sometimes 2 to 3 weeks before that. So that's why tonight is just strictly voting. You know, unless one of us have a question, then we ask. But like I said, we always, when somebody's new, we don't want you to think we're taking it for granted and just voting for it. We've already discussed it in full, okay?
Very good, thank you. All right. New business, item 7, engineering and public works, resolution number 2025-20, authorizing a professional engineering services contract for the Willow Wick Creek stabilization. Do we have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
All right. Tool, and a second was Ms. Carpenter. Oh, Ms. Freitas, thank you. Anything you'd like to share about this, Mr. Clifford?
Mr. Mayor and Council, as a reminder, this is one of likely many actions that the council will have to consider. We hosted a number of personnel from the NRC and also with the state of South Carolina to look at some of the effects on our creeks from Hurricane Helene. And so we have a grant that was put in by our Director of Public Works, Tom Zeser, for a grant, and that was approved for just about $1 million, 900,000 and change. And so ultimately, that's a no grant, no match required grant. So there wasn't a requirement on that, but there are some limitations and caps to what you can use aspects of the grant for. So what you have before you is the engineering services to look at what was known as the Willow Wick apartment complex there on Martintown Road, just north of I-20. And if you go into the parking lot of that apartment complex, you can see where the stream bed has now eroded a portion of the parking lot and made that unsafe. And you also have trees and debris that are in the waterway there, which causes backups and problems there. So of all the things that are associated with that water basin, that was the number one priority for our engineering staff to get after. And so what you have here is a resolution which would approve Cranston Engineering as the contractor going through a competitive process, which allows us to use just over $63,000 of this grant funds, coupled with $41,000 of our stormwater utility fund, because there was a cap on some of the technical funds associated, and that will allow us to move forward on getting the engineering done for that section, and then we'll likely come back to council for a contractor action to go ahead and move forward on the actual remediation through that area.
I think I know this answer. I know, but in case somebody happens to look at the resolution, where it says general fund disaster relief efforts, the grant has been put into that designated fund. So it's not coming from the general fund, meaning in the sense from normal taxes, it's coming from the grant.
So my understanding, Mr. Mayor, is that is a reimbursable. So we would make an initial outlay of that amount from the general fund, and then the federal government would refund us that money.
Perfect. Very good. Thank you. All right. Are there any citizen comments? Okay. Any council discussion?
I just one quick thing. I wasn't here this past Monday, so I'm assuming the 63K is coming out the 1 million. So we have 940,000 left out of that grant.
I'd have to take my shoes off to do the rest of the math, council. But yes,
you're fairly close. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I figured. I just that's what it is.
Okay. Any other discussion questions? All right. Hearing none, I'm going to ask for a vote. All in favor? And that's unanimous. Thank you. Okay. Item 8, Planning and Development, Resolution number 2025-21, accepting a deed of dedication for the water and sanitary sewer along with a maintenance guarantee and cash deposit for Parker's Kitchen. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution? That was Ms. Carpenter. She beat you, Mr. Freitas. And second? Anybody share about this, Ms. Clifford?
This is a routine action that occurs with development in a new commercial building, and this is in regards to the Parker's Kitchen gas station and convenience center that's located on Route 25, just south of Interstate 20's Exit 5. I drove by there today. That's open for business, and it looks like they're doing well. And so this is an action that we need to take forward to have access for the non-exclusive easement of the property to assist with the items listed below. So this is a routine action. If we ran a consent agenda, this likely would be on a consent agenda. You'll see several of these throughout the year, depending on how much development is going on at the city at any given time. And I have no other comments at this time.
Okay. Are there any citizen comments? All right, council discussion? Everybody good? Okay, if not, I'm going to ask for a vote. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you. All right, we are now zipping right along. I'm going to turn to item 9, our administrative reports. Turn it over to you, Ms. Clifford.
All right, so I actually have potentially some good news. I haven't been giving you a whole lot of that with the utility billing system update, but we'll go to the next slide. So no changes to the slide. Again, we've been communicating to our citizens that we are not turning off water supply to residences, and we are not charging late fees at this time. That's the big takeaway from this slide. Next slide. So as I've briefed to you before, we had a solid period of time of just under a week from April 9th to the 14th where we had citizens who were making online payments via the online portal through Clover, which is also part of the Fiserv system. And so what happened is those payments would go into Clover. They would come into the city's pot, if you will, but there wasn't a way to track which funds went to which account. And so that was going to cause people a real problem with being upset, and rightfully so, that they might have paid $50 online for water bill and not having that reflect in their billing. And so after multiple technical meetings with 3 different contractors and our city personnel, they were able to come up with a technical way to reconcile those records. And our city personnel have done a manual reconciliation for those periods of time, led by Linda and Tara in our finance department. And so I report now with high confidence that we've reconcile those online payments, and so that when we go to the next billing cycle, that those will be accurate bills and reflect payments that citizens have already made. Next slide. So with that, we still have our centralized customer service line, which we've left online for the purposes of this implementation. And then we believe we're going to have the May 10th bills mailed out by Wednesday, so that people should be receiving those by the end of the week. And then we'll look at our next timing of the following. What we didn't want to do is try to run 2 billing cycles in a very short amount of time and then have the finance department overloaded with customers. So I would imagine that we're going to have at least a week standoff in between this billing cycle and the next. But it looks like we're making some headway there. So I'll pause for any questions from council about utility billing.
Yeah, let me just ask one. I'm going to use myself. All right, I get my monthly bill. I know we're not cutting anybody off, but everybody now is getting a monthly bill. I mean, I'd hate somebody not get one, then 3 months later get something.
Councilman, what I displayed on the screen was that the May 10th bill will actually be going out on the mail today, or correction, by Wednesday, which is so a month late, a little over a month late. And so we're going to have to glide path it so that over the next 2 months, we realign ourselves so that people are getting their bills on a recurring timeline and they're not shoving them together so that people have payments they got to make.
So you're only getting one bill on.
They're only going to get the May 10th bill.
Yeah.
Is what's going to get mailed out this week.
Okay.
And then the following week, we're going to try to mail out the next bill,
okay,
which I believe is the 25 May bill. So those are the bills we're going to try to get out. But it's going to take us a while to glide slope it so that people get their bills on the right timeline without getting them too many bills in a shorter period of time.
We're making progress.
We are. And we are adjusting the due dates of those bills. So if you get a May 10th bill late in the mail, which you are, you're not required to pay by the original May 10th deadlines. So we pushed that deadline out to July 11th is the new deadline for the May 10th billing cycle.
Mr. Clifford, do you have a guesstimate as to how many people pay their bill online versus mailing in or coming in person?
I do not.
What is the preferred method for the city?
Long term or even medium term, my goal would be to move people onto the online portal. But until we demonstrate that we have a system that is 100% all the time, what I see just through my own eyeballs here is that a lot of people are coming into the finance office to pay in person, or they're using the Dropbox in the city parking lot. So a lot of traffic comes in that way as well.
And is there still a 3.5% charge to pay online?
There is.
I never understood that.
Well, I'm going to speak on that. John, every business does that. Carpenter's Tire and Auto, we have our sign up. You pay cash, but if you don't pay by cash, a card, we're going to add that 3 point whatever it is percentage to it. Yeah. And most of people are doing it, John. They just don't tell you.
Yep, I understand that, but we also have staff time that is involved in manually taking those payments, and I just really don't know what the balance is. I think for the convenience of and the streamlining of doing it online, I've never agreed with the extra charge.
Yeah.
I've always thought it was a cost of doing business.
I tend to agree. It also does away with a lot of the paperwork you have to do and dealing with the checks and everything else that you get in. So there is an advantage to the city. It's something worth giving some thought to.
I think in order to do that, because there is a transaction charge, and if you look at Columbia County or Augusta Richmond County or any other water provider, they all charge a service charge to do something online. And so that cost has to be built in somewhere. So either you do it as a transaction cost, or you have to raise the overall water rate to be able to absorb that, because the city has to pay that transaction fee, or correction, somebody has to pay that transaction fee. So if the answer is you don't want to have the citizens pay that transaction fee, then you have to absorb that cost somewhere in the model. And so there's a philosophical discussion, which we can certainly have in a longer study session. But for now, based on the way that the ordinance is read, that's how we're doing business today. Any other questions on utility billing?
Mr. Clifford, has there ever been a discrepancy between what they've shown we should have and what we actually have as far as the money coming in? Or is that always kind of lined up?
Well, I would say during this implementation, one of the reasons what came to our attention was that time window of April, I think 9th through the 16th, was because citizens were coming in and telling us, hey, I made an online payment, but I don't see it reflected. And then so we started gathering that data at that point in time. But that's also why we haven't been assessing late fees or doing water shutoffs, because until we have a high confidence that the data we have in is accurate, we don't want to penalize our citizens.
So if there is a shortfall at the end of all this, will Clever take responsibility for that?
No.
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and move into administrative reports unless there are any other questions. All right, there we go. So I have, under administrative reports, I have 4 items this evening. So first, this week, DPW personnel are adding concrete barriers in the city parking lot at the trailhead of the Palmetto Parkway next to the South Carolina DMV. And this action should not negatively impact recreational trail users. There'll still be plenty of parking for vehicles. But this action is to discourage commercial truck traffic from parking there overnight. We've posted a number of signs about saying no 18-wheelers, no truck parking overnight. That has not seemed to do the trick. So now we're going to do it the hard way and lay out some concrete barriers that will make it difficult for an 18-wheeler to pull in and do its K-turn, whatever you call it, to get turned around and get out of that parking lot. So that should be occurring this week. So that would normally happen in a study session update, but I wanted you to be aware of it in case you get citizens asking you about what's going on in the parking lot by the DMV. That's our folks doing that. Second item is council brought to administration a citizen complaint about just the downtown in general, about yellow painted curbs and routine maintenance of the downtown corridor. And so what I would say is that normally that work is done by our streets and drains section of Public Works, but they've been pretty fully involved with Hurricane Helene response since September of last year into just about 30 days ago. And so they have an enormous backlog of items to work through that was already on their work list before the hurricane hit. And so we'll continue to work that list. And I would imagine that things that are lesser priorities, much like making sure we're putting a fresh coat of paint on some of the yellow curb markers there, that will get done early in 2026.
I'm going to reach out to Steve and let him know because he came to the public powwow. Steve
Yeah.
Bowie, he sent those pictures. That's what.
I talked to him
So
today
you can
about
let him know. That's why I wanted Jim to respond to that.
I'm glad.
And third, our Assistant City Administrator, J.D. McCauley, is working with senior staff to update the business guide, which is dated. I think that was also something that came out of a Power Hour feedback, and we should have an updated edition posted to the website by the end of the summer.
Okay, good.
So lastly, the city attorney and public safety director are going to provide some input to the council in regards to animal control before we get to citizen comments tonight. So as we looked into this matter, the city requires volunteers to sign liability waivers for their personal interactions with the animals that are resident in a city facility. What came to light was these volunteers are taking animals out of the city facility while those animals are still in control of the city or responsibility of the city. And if that animal got loose and bit another citizen, the city and our taxpayers would be at high risk of litigation. So I suspect there's a way forward to restore at least a version of this practice, but in the meantime, the city has temporarily suspended this practice. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Johnson, who's going to be followed by the city attorney.
The one thing that I want to assure y'all as we talk about this is as we make these changes, we're not dropping any level of service for those animals. Animal Control Officer McBride works diligently to take care of them, and he works well with our volunteers to make sure that they can get adopted out, who assist us in advertising those animals. And I'll give you a couple of success stories that have gone on this week so that you know what's going on. We've had one dog in there since April 4th. And it's supposed to be adopted out, planning on coming up this weekend. It'll be gone before the week's out. And so that dog's been there for well over 60 days. And, you know, we're required to keep them for 5 days, but we strive to make sure that every dog we bring in finds a home for them. And another thing we did, 2 dogs were transferred out to a different shelter because they felt that they could find owners for those. And there were 2 labs. They said they felt they could move labs pretty good. So we had them long term. We wanted to give them another opportunity to advertise that so that hopefully those dogs can find a home. And lastly, one of the things that we did this morning was we took one of the dogs we had in there needed eye surgery. A volunteer group raised the money for that dog to have the eye surgery performed, but it needed a place to stay during that. So we're going to take care. It's going to be housed at the veterans office until it can be well. And that's the biggest assurance is that the animals will be taken care of even during this time.
All right. Well, last week I was asked to look at some documents related to this that I had not reviewed in the past. And basically, there are 2 different documents. One is a waiver of an assumption of risk for volunteers that I thought was to be basically at the facility. There's some indication in them that they're allowing for the volunteers to take the animals away from there, which put up a red flag for me that I looked at and felt like we needed to massage the documents a little bit. And then we have another document that I think is for the holidays program, and that's specifically a program where the animals are taken home for the weekend and done things like that. The first document, the waiver, is really a right good document. Obviously, there are some things that the municipality would need to add into it that are not there that we can get that done. The next thing that we need to look at is to make sure that we're okay with the animals being taken away from the facility. An animal running on the street, we're not responsible for because it's not our dog till we pick it up. And when we pick up that dog and bring it to our pound, not only are we responsible for that dog, we're responsible for anything that that dog does from that point forward. So we need to look to that, see how to do it. And actually, Councilman Bradico has provided me some information about some of these volunteer funds and insurance that they have to cover some of that. So we can look at that and see how that maybe we can handle that. To make sure you understand what the big issue is, it's liability to the city. That's my sole job, and I actually went back and looked on the Tort Reform Act, which is the act that limits liability for municipal corporations, counties, and everything. That was changed March 5 from 300,000 for a single event to 600,000 for multiple events. March 5th, that was changed to the city now has liability of $1 million for a single event, $2 million for multiple events. So a couple things we have to do. We have to make sure that Smurf, who is our insurance carrier, that there are no exclusions for dogs. I will tell you that homeowners policies, probably in the last 10 years, the quickest way to get a homeowner's policy revoked is have your dog bite somebody. That kind of, they're just canceling policies a lot. And I will tell you, I'm familiar within the last year in the city of a $300,000 settlement on a dog bite with a friend helping out a friend with their dog. So there is a substantial amount of liability there. And my goal is to go through all of these documents, see what we need to do to limit our liability as best we can and have the proper paperwork that will take care of that. Some other issues that are not real big, and I don't think it's a problem, but you have to be very careful with volunteers that they're not done in a way that the next thing you know, they're considered to be somehow employees of the city and then covered by workers' comp, which just increases costs and things. Generally, that's not a situation. That I think volunteer firemen and that kind of thing, they are covered by workers' comp, but I don't think that these workers will be. But it's something we need to know what the situation is so we know how to deal with it. So I think that these documents and with some contacts with Smurf, which is our insurance carrier, and some others, we can come up with a procedure that maybe can get you back to kind of the way you've been operating in the past.
Quick question. So, what timeline do you think that this will take to be resolved?
Well,
a week, 2 weeks, 2 months?
Oh no, I mean, I think within 30 days we can do this.
So
I
you
can
ta-
have something back to you for council to say, that's fine with us, let's do it that way.
Okay, so you're looking into that we can let the volunteers in?
Looking for a way for us to do that, which I think we're going to have to make sure that we are covered when a non-city employee takes an animal away from that shelter that still belongs to the city, and make sure that we're covered there.
And I think, I've been around a long time. I thought we never allowed volunteers in there. I mean, the years I've been on council, that was a big deal that you did not. I mean, this is nothing new about the volunteers wanting to come, but I thought the city has never had a policy that you can go to that volunteer, even to clean it.
I really have not kept up with it, but based upon the documents that I've seen, we have had for some period of time volunteers providing services at least at the facility pretty regularly.
And I guess Chief Johnson, how many in a year, how many dogs has the city put down because they could find no one?
To fit the category that you just asked, the number is zero. We brought in 64 dogs this year. 3 of them have been euthanized, but they've shown aggression and already bit somebody, and we didn't feel comfortable allowing them to go out to another home. But other than that, none have been euthanized.
We're averaging like a 95%
I
adoption.
mean, that's a plus. That's a plus, isn't it?
2024,
Yeah.
95%
Yeah.
adoption. That's pretty strong.
We're having higher than 95% adoption rate. We haven't put a dog down that's been adoptable in 3 years that I've been volunteering there. And I want to speak on some things for a minute. So first of all, The dog that had the eye surgery scheduled, we actually had to cancel that surgery and figure out a way to work it out with the city this week. So that dog did lose a level of service. He had money raised for his surgery. I don't. We had to cancel it because we can't. Our shelter is so old and antiquated that it is not a sanitary environment for a dog to recover from surgery in. That is a hard fact. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Secondly, so that dog did lose a level of service. He sat in the shelter for an additional week while he needed surgery. About a month ago, a dog came in that we named Churchill. Churchill was about to die in our pound floor. Craig McBride is a hero in our city, and I think he is one of the most undersung people that we have here. If a pound volunteer had not been available to take that dog out right then and there to the vet and bring the dog back to the shelter, the dog probably would have died. The dog is doing excellent.
Was that illegal to do that then, according to our ordinance?
Every other shelter in our local government operates with the help of volunteers.
Yeah, but I mean, right now that
There's no
we can't
ordinance
do
against it. There's no ordinance against it.
An issue of whether it's legal or illegal, we stopped the practice because we have liability with that, and we're trying to deal with that issue so we can determine and try to avoid liability or make sure we have coverage and protection if something happens.
Nobody can take them out right
No, not right now. We're not doing volunteer. So let me explain to you a little bit what this looks like from the viewpoint of a volunteer. We've had 3 volunteers in my time there at 3 years, including myself, that have been attacked and needed medical attention. We are so scared that the city is going to stop what we do there and not let us help the animals that we take care of it ourselves. It's never been an issue. And that is the continued feeling. I have a dog named Comet, was perfectly good. He went into a house, he came back, and he just came up out of his water bowl and he attacked me in the shelter. I was in there making media, which I've done for better than 2.5 years now for the pound. We volunteers run the pound page. They post all the pound posts. The dog ran me into a kennel and I closed the gate behind myself, and the dog had to be euthanized. And that's very sad when it happened, but I myself was so scared that the city would end our work that there was not a thought of a lawsuit. And I know that's not always the case, and I understand, but this needs to be handled as quickly as we can because of dogs like Churchill that could come into the pound and there's no one else to take them but a volunteer. You know, you can't take a dog out like Lando that's going to have eye surgery and put him in an environment where he's going to be in his own urine and feces for 18, 19 hours and expect him to have recover like that. It's not humane. It's not sanitary. It's not fair to the dog. And to me, when I look at this building and I look at all the buildings we have in our city that are just so beautiful and wonderful, and I look at our pound, it makes me sad. Craig McBride is a hero, and he's a public safety officer, and he deserves the absolute best we can give him. Our volunteers have brought that kill rate down to the lowest in the area. Deserve better than what they're given to work with. And I know it's a case of whether or not Aiken County should cover some of this because we pay taxes every time we step up to the register. But at the end of the day, y'all, we're just an absentee parent. We've got a child to take care of, and while that child is in our custody, we have to do the right thing.
Well, now you're talking about the county. I mean, I still say they need to help us because they know our facility and how it is. They need to help us.
Let's stop this. So we're going to let me just, because we go on all night. When we had a public power hour, Tyler came and phone arrived, and the statement I made to everybody was that we are going to have a study session. Okay, our administration is already working on options, so we are going to address as a council how do we want to handle this going forward. So we are going to have a study session at some point, and that's where we'll talk about all that. But right now, the bottom line is between I think from what Jim and Chief and Kelly, does everybody understand why we're doing what we're doing for the period of time we're going to do it? And our game plan, and we're hoping is that we'll be able to get it back where we can do exactly solve the issue he's sharing, but to do it where we are not liable. So that's what we have our folks working on at this point. Bottom line, that's the best we can do. Best we can do at this point.
let me speak up for 1 second. So he's talking about the dog that needed eye surgery. Craig wasn't available to take him. Could we not have another officer like a plan B to where, a city employee can take the dog to the vet and not just rely on volunteers?
Yeah, anytime Craig needs help, he can reach out to the rest of the police department. We're all on the same team.
So we just sort of need to end this discussion.
Well, depending on what your discussion is, we're going to address this again once Administration Kelly come back to us with dealing this piece. But as far as what is a long-term vision of our animal shelter and our public safety when it comes to dogs and our citizens, yes, that will be a study session as we get through this summer and probably in the fall.
I would ask that, just we handle this expediently as possible. Let's do this quickly, because if another dog comes in like Churchill and something happens where an animal perishes that we could have got, a volunteer could have got medical help for, the rescue could have raised money for, you're going to have people standing in these aisles.
All right. Very good. Thank you for the administrative report at this point. All right, we're at item 10, presentations, communication, recognition of visitors. At this time, citizens may speak to mayor and city council regarding matters not listed on the agenda. Speakers shall give their name and address for the record. And so is there anybody that would like to come forward to city council and talk about anything that's not on the agenda? This is your opportunity. Okay. Then we're going to get into final comments. I've got a handful of announcements. Before I do that, I'll go down the line. Anybody, final things anybody needs to say? Okay. So we will not be meeting next week, the 23rd. Our next meeting will be a study session on June the 30th. The topic will be Riverside Village parking. So the administration will be presenting some things about that. So we will not be meeting on 23rd. We're meeting on the 30th. On July the 14th, the Office of the Resilience will be at council. That is the organization that has, from the state, that's going to be able to educate all of us. Ms. Clifford went to a presentation concerning possible funding mechanism to help citizens with Hurricane Helene issues. And we're hoping to have some workers and tables. So we'll get more information out, but that's going to be really important on that day, July 14th. That'll be a study session. We got two great ribbon cuttings. Tomorrow we have Creighton Park ribbon cutting, our new playground, Creighton Park, which is right next to Living History Park. We'll be doing that at 11 o'clock. Love to have you come out for that. This is beautiful. It looks incredible. ADA compliant. It's just amazing. So we're going to brag on some folks who helped put that together. And then on Thursday, I'm really excited. The third Thursday at 4 o'clock, we're having the ribbon cutting for a brand new trolley. So we have got a brand new trolley that's going to be incredible. That's going to open up a lot of stuff for us. So those are two big things. And last thing is, Chief, I want to brag on your folks. Got a very nice email by Jeff Peters. He said, I would like to thank the men and women who were on duty this past Saturday at the fire station, Martintown Road. My 2.5-year-old grandson is infatuated with fire trucks and firefighters. We stopped by and asked them if it would be possible to see the fire truck. They were absolutely wonderful. They gave him a grand tour and even a fire hat, which he is wearing everywhere. Please give them a heartfelt thanks. So if you tell your folks that fire station, they made a little boy, and most importantly, they made a citizen father happy. So that was real nice of Jeff Peters. Y'all know Jeff. It was mighty kind of him to do that. And last thing is, talking about the water bill. In this, when those water bills start going out in May, our next hometown highlights, okay? So we talked about this for the last 4 years. We have citizens say, well, I'm not on social media. How am I going to know what's happening? Well, that's why every quarter we actually handwrite what's called hometown highlights. I have a whole column where I highlight things that are happening, and then you can go here and say we have a whole thing talking about public service wastewater projects that we talked about tonight, upcoming events, the Nike Peach Jam, Science Saturday. If you have kids, we have a Science Saturday coming up August the 2nd from 10 to 1. You need to be there. We have Caddyshack Cat Show, not dogs, but cats, coming up on September. National Safety Month. We've got Stay Hydrated. So a lot of information that for people who are not on social media, but they want to have something in their hand. So when you get your water bill, read this because we're doing that. So I just want to promote Hometown Highlights. So if you hear somebody say, I don't know what's happening, we're sending to them this information in the water bill. So with that, thank you all for being here, and we stand adjourned.